I would first and foremost like to apologize for my appearance and my voice. It is hot, it is humid, and my allergies are acting up. However, I couldn't let that deter me from talking about one of my favorite cinematic experiences of the past year, that being Herencia Diabolica, aka the Mexican Chucky. Other than being a 1994 masterpiece, it is also a film that was shot on film, however it was edited on tapes, therefore making it look horrendous. And other than having one of the most haunting dolls in cinematic history, it's also quite a laugh riot. So, what is the Mexican Chucky about? After seeing some credits that were probably done on Microsoft Paint, we get shots of an old lady holding on to our Chucky. She's just on her rocking chair, but the next shot, she's dead. However, she still holds on to that doll, and we get one of her only close-ups for the next 60 minutes. And already we can see the alarming looking older gentleman that will be playing our doll. After that, we go to New York, for some reason, and we meet one of our leads, who is learning about the passing of his old aunt. Then we go back to Mexico, where the man will go to the house with his wife. All of that is told without the camera getting close to anyone, so it makes it really hard to differentiate our characters. Because again, this movie's allergic to close-up shots. It's also at this point in the film where the audience realizes that every woman in this will wear revealing clothing. Because I guess the director needed every bit of attention from the audience that he needed. I don't know why, just show more of the doll, that will catch everybody's attention. Especially in close-ups, because the man is clearly over 50 years old. If you didn't understand, by the way, our characters inherited the house from the old aunt, which is explained to us through a lot of padding, because this 78-minute long film really needed a lot of padding. That's kind of a common thing in shot-on-video films, even though this was shot on film. You wouldn't believe it looking at it, but trust me, it was. One of the dialogue scene is the man asking his wife if she regrets leaving New York for this castle. Brother, you went from paying $5 a month for some cardboard box to living in your own castle for free. I don't think she regrets anything. Then we get more backstory about the old bag, and honestly, who gives a shit? We're just here to see the goddamn Mexican Chucky doll. Show us more of the Mexican Chucky, please. But since this is a low-budget slasher, before getting to the doll, we of course need a sex scene. Which, this might be the only sex scene I can show on YouTube completely uncensored. Why is that, you may ask? Because it's so goddamn dark that you couldn't even tell it's a sex scene. Thank God the Gauzer put this out on Blu-ray. Could you imagine how terrible it would look on DVD when you can already not see anything? Of course, the lady needs post-coitus exploring, so she looks at the house even further. There she finds the attic, which is decorated by witch thingies. Of course, she's not alarmed by any of this, because the characters in this film are the type of people that needed to take the short bus home. Which explains why she finds the creepy doll and thinks, that would be perfect for my unborn child. Because yes, at this point in the film, she's pregnant, which she tells her husband in the next scene. Then we get some more backstory, and honestly, who gives a hoot? Already there are signs that the doll is haunted, because it teleports, but again, our characters are kind of stupid, so she does nothing to fix the problem other than putting the doll into a... what do you call it? What I really needed to freeze on that word right now. A closet, that's the word. Thank you, God. And after putting the doll into the closet, she goes to sleep and then she hears knocking. She goes downstairs to find out that the doll has escaped the closet. The doll of course attacks her, so she runs away. But since it's magical, it teleports in front of her, scaring her to death. She falls down the stairs and passes away. When I first saw this, I assumed that this killed both the mother and the child. However, the child was safe. One jump cut later, because that's how the film shows advancement of time, the boy is already a toddler who really likes his doll, and our man is ready to get remarried to his secretary, who of course, like the previous woman in this, isn't a fan of the doll. But so is the doll. This doll really doesn't like women. I call it the little Elliot Rodger. Later that night, our new wife is already talking about getting rid of the doll, which she tries to do and then tries to hide it by asking the boy if he wants to go to the fair. The fair that doesn't really care about international copyright laws doesn't really work, and the boy is really sad. However, the doll reappears. And all that weird stuff is of course happening while the man is in New York. Later that night, the woman is having this weird nightmare where the doll tries to sexually harass her while the screen goes full RGB. That's a sentence that just came out of my mouth. Thank you, Mexican Chucky. The next scene, the lady in white tries to throw the doll in the water as we see the cameraman's hand go in front of the camera, but again, this does nothing, and the doll teleports back to the boy. I just want to point out that at this point in the film, her clothing is so revealing, and the artist that did this back cover had no chill, and he really needed to put that out there for everyone to see. After seeing that it couldn't work, she puts the doll in a box, and as she's waiting at a red light, a man steals it. Big mistake, dude, since this will be the only kill actually perpetrated by our doll. The rest of the deaths in this, spoiler alert, are basically just women falling to their deaths. As you'd probably expect by this point, not only are the effects not great, everything is shown to us through wide shots. Because again, this movie's MO is fuck coverage. We don't need that shit. When the man comes back to New York, our couple goes on a date, and that's when I realized that this movie is almost done. Even though I've been kind of making fun of this movie, what I can say is that it's deeply entertaining. As I've said, at this point in the film, we're almost an hour in, and I didn't realize where the time went. During the date, the clown shows back up and the kid wants to play with it, but the nanny refuses. However, it's alive, and it scares the maid, leading us to the trippy, crazy RGB sequence in the attic. This leads to the maid going nuts, and then the puppet somehow controls a rope that goes around the maid's neck, but the noose isn't what kills her. It's actually falling off the building. If you're a fan of dummy deaths, this movie's for you. When our couple shows back up, the police is there and the woman gets upset and she tries to kill the puppet. This of course fails as the puppet reappears the next day, and that leads us to the best part of the movie, the final chase scene. And I cannot do this scene justice. If I try to explain it, it'll probably be too messy. I really want people to experience this film without spoiling how fucking hilarious the chase scene is. I am not kidding. I was watching this with some friends last week and I couldn't stop laughing. My sides hurt. That's how hilarious this scene is. And the puppet is just magnificent because it's just a man walking around teleporting, even though walking would be faster, the lady yelling and just randomly stopping, and then the puppet just appears on a boat. It is comedy gold. Please watch this film. I implore you. After this perfection of cinematic chase, our dad is with his son on an airplane. And that's where we get the final close-up on the doll, and what a way to end this masterpiece. I couldn't have taken it any other way. So, what did I think of Herencia Diabolica? Man, I love this movie. Honestly, I'm not somebody who says, oh, a movie's so bad it's good, because if you enjoy it, it's good. Therefore, this film is a masterpiece. I haven't enjoyed a terribly amazing film since probably LA AIDS Jabber. And just like that film, it has everything I love. Please, people, watch Herencia Diabolica. Vinegar Syndrome is having a sale pretty soon. I don't know if it's going to be on sale, but even if it's not, pick this movie up, download it, I don't care, just watch this. get some friends, get some booze, as I did last week, and just enjoy one of the greatest cinematic experiences of all time.